Hi, my name is Gracie, and this is my presentation on positron emission technology, or PET. So, PET is essentially a scanning technique that's used to measure the relative amounts of activity in certain regions. And how we do this is by making radioisotopes, which are essentially radioactive tags attached to a common energy source for the tissue. A great example of this, and the most common example, is FDG, which is a radioactive tag on glucose. And these radioisotopes will accumulate in areas relative to the amount of energy they use. So if an area requires more glucose because it uses more energy, you'll find a higher rate of radioisotope accumulation in those areas. Eventually, these radioisotopes will decay and emit positrons, which will eventually combine with electrons and emit photons. And these photons are what's being picked up by the PET scan. And when these relative amounts of photon emissions are picked up by the PET scan, we can generate images like this, which is a really great full body PET scan. And these areas in red are the most active. These are emitting the most photons, and so you can gather that the most amounts of radioisotopes accumulated there, therefore that area is using up the most of your energy source. A great real-world example of this is being able to detect what's called an epileptogenic zone, which is the zone in the brain that is not necessarily the area of the seizure every time, but it is the area responsible for the seizure. And epilepsy, of course, is a seizure disorder. And what you can see here, right here, is a very healthy amount of cellular metabolism happening in the frontal lobe. And you should expect to see a symmetrical amount of cellular metabolism happening on the other side, but you don't, which indicates that this area is not properly using energy and contributing to the overall function of the brain, and is a very likely candidate for this epileptogenic zone. Some limitations to PET is false results can and have occurred due to acute or natural chemical imbalances. A great example of this is in diabetic patients who naturally have issues metabolizing glucose due to issues with insulin production or insulin resistance. And if they don't follow a very specific criteria leading up to their scan, their results could be altered. It's also time consuming due to the intravenous administration of the radioisotopes, which need time to accumulate throughout the body. Thank you so much for your time.